Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and today, this specific video will be pretty dark in a sense, kind of like we're from the Afghanistan or Siberia, whatever we want to call it, where beheading is now becoming a thing and potentially here, and this will be in California. It's quite disturbing, I would say. So, I would say that California's crime is getting completely out of control. The DAs are not doing anything, and to live in this state is getting more and more dangerous as we seem to come by and see all this immense amount of crime. The fact that this is happening is insanity. I was going to be doing a different video today, or a couple at least different videos for my for today that are more of a laugh, more of a jester type stuff. But apparently, when I saw this, I immediately had to jump ship on one of those videos because this one had to take precedent on to see on how corrupt and how dangerous the Pacific Democrats are with their policies and what happens when they're elected. Now, it usually comes down to DAs, but Democrats were also the first type of people that wanted to remove the police officers or defund them from the places, and then we see a spike in crime. Now, you would say, why do you keep on blaming the Democrats for this? Well, maybe because they're the ones doing it. The Republicans were never the ones or first people to actively want to defund the police. Now, do we need police reform? Yes, I could agree with that. But that's different than defunding the police and then having all kinds of, mayhem. I think we need a massive amount of police reform. I think we need a lot of things that can be done so police can be kept in check so their freaking hierarchy does not go completely out of control. Which seems to happen a lot with, obviously with the police nowadays. But this article is what we call disturbing, and we're becoming California is already a third world state as it is. We say, as I would like to say, because normally you don't see this type of shit happening in other states. But of course, in a third world state such as California, you'll see it happening. Man arrested after beheading young mother in middle of San Carlos Street, law enforcement sources. Law enforcement source tells the ABC 7 I-Team's Dan Noyes that a man beheaded a young woman in the middle of the street in front of witnesses on Thursday. The San Mateo Co-Sheriff's Department said the crime happened in 300 to 400 block of Laurel Street and Magnolia Avenue at 11:50 a.m. During a press conference, Lieutenant Eamon Allen said that the crime happened in the street outside the victim's residence. Lieutenant Allen said that the victim had two children who did not witness the crime, and sources tell that the I-Team's Dan Noyes kids were inside the house at the time. The I-Team obtained law enforcement records on the incident that said, just before noon, reports came in that the woman's head was cut off by a sword at 12:14 p.m. Children are there, scared to come home, want their mom. CPS took custody of the 7-year-old and 1-year-olds, along with a dog and two cats who were also inside the house. We're told the two were in an ongoing relationship, but law enforcement saw the victim and got a temporary restraining order against the suspect, Hayward resident Jose Solano Landeta, in April. They arrived within minutes and found an obviously deceased female in the street in that area. That said Lieutenant Allen during a press conference. They began to work the scene, and shortly then after, the male suspect arrived back at the scene and was quickly detained by sheriff's deputies. He was later placed under arrest for homicide. We can confirm that a stabbing instrument was used in the commission of the crime. That weapon is still outstanding. The search for that weapon is still ongoing. We're told the suspect suffered a medical emergency of some sort, but details are limited. Resident Terry Adams spoke with ABC News hours after the murder to ask why. Why did it happen? She and others living near the crime scene are trying to understand what could have led to Thursday's gruesome killing of their neighbor. Broadcastify radio's traffic success by ABC 7 alerted this is a 24-year-old female. Head was cut off by a sword. The sheriff's office only described the weapon and used as a stabbing instrument, one that had been found as of Thursday evening. Neighbor Chapel Thorburn described the disturbing scene he encountered as he was returning home around noon Thursday, only steps from his front door. The head was underneath the car, and she was lying in the back of the car, just severed, he described, and they covered her up. The Thorburn said he's familiar with the couple, having briefly interacted with them a number of times. He said the last time he saw the man was just before the suspect was taken into custody. He was hurt, shocked, disappointed, he said about the suspect. You can tell that when he walked by, I'm like, yeah, they cut somebody's head off just laying right there. Residents said the concern now is for the kids, with many questions about how someone could commit such a heinous crime. After he cut her head off, he came walking up him and his two friends, Thorborn said, and they walked by me and they arrested him. So just say there was a history of domestic violence at their address where the woman was killed. Officers are providing support to both first responders and a group of witnesses who saw this tragic situation unfold. There's still an active crime scene with this community in shock. Many are returning from work, now learning about that young mother who was beheaded in the middle of the street in the middle of the day. The dance victim has been withheld pending family notification. Anytime someone loses their life is certainly tragedy. As far as the shocking nature of it, I do know that the deputies that first arrived on scene were a little beset by the scene. We are providing peer support. We are also providing support for the witnesses that were on scene as well, because there were several civilian witnesses. There you have it. These places are getting crazy. We are living in a crime wave world, and it's not okay. We understand we understand that crime is just skyrocketing, and it's getting to the point to where people are getting beheaded now. This is ridiculous in all forms of level. It's just disgusting in that aspect, and I can't. It's insane to think that this is actually happening at all. This is the type of stuff that you hear that happens in Afghanistan or any of the other countries that this type of stuff happens. It's happening in California. This is how bad California is gotten, and people still want to be here. I mean, come on, it's ridiculous to me in this aspect that this is happening. And California is going to keep on getting worse. It's not going to keep getting better, folks. It's going to get worse. Because people will keep on voting Democrat because they think that the Democrats are for them when it's not for them. Stats prove it. Vote out Democrats to stop the New York crime wave. Kudos to Mayor Eric Adams and the NYPD. They're succeeding in bringing down homicides and shootings. Crime stats for the summer show. Problem is, nearly every other crime category was up. Murders were down 51% last month over August 2021. For the year, the drop is 11%. Shootings fell 31% in August and 11% for the year to date. But serious crimes are up to 35.6% over the 2021. Robberies, 39%. The city's thin blue line is overstretched. It can deliver results on one front, but not all of them. And the 35,000 strong force is shrinking faster than new routes can fill the vacancies. Part of the problem is the city's council elimination of qualified immunity for officers in civil lawsuits, which encourages retirements and discourages recruitment and proactive policing by putting a cop's life savings at risk simply for doing the job. But the main blame goes to the state lawmakers who turn the word arrest into a bad joke. The Manhattan Institute's Nicole Grimm summed something up neatly. When cops do arrest people for menacing or assaulting people, prosecutors and judges follow bail laws, let them go. Time and again, the mayor has requested sensible tweaks to those laws, but the legislature refuses, and useless Governor Kathy Hochul pretends she's already done what she's needed. Adams wasn't wrong in telling the July NYPD graduation class, "You're policing in a climate where everyone is against us." Honor the police for what they've managed to accomplish and give them the chance to do more of voting against Hochul and every other POL who's standing against public safety. Would agree. Now, we have more of this crazy insanity that's going on. New surveillance video shows deadly shooting inside Westfield Park store. New surveillance shows deadly shooting inside the West Park store, and a disturbing video of a deadly shooting inside a West Park liquor store reveals new details about the case, including that an argument started inside before shots were fired. The video, which may be disturbing for some, first shows one man punching another at the counter. 2 steps between the pair as the man who was punched moves to go out the door, but then the man turns around and pulls out a gun, shooting the victim man who punched him multiple times. The shooting happened Wednesday afternoon at 4:15. The man who was shot was taken to Mount Sinai Medical Center and pronounced dead. Not much is known about the man except that he was 19 years old, according to the medical examiner. Well, by the way, this is happening in Chicago. So yeah, the Democrat states are completely completely destroying stuff, and it's quite hilarious, really, that this is happening. It's not actually. It's hilarious in the fact that this is happening because of the fact that it's just so insanity that you would think it would not be happening, but it is. Yeah, go to Democratic states, meet crime up of insanity. That's what I would say. Well, you know what you got. Vote for these Democrats. Get crime increased. That's all I can say. All right, guys. That's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, take care.